Mark, fix your tie. You know, alumni from my office better look good. That's right. Good. How about you? Speaking
Welcome,
of,
Senator Emerson. The Senate Committee on Appropriations will come to order. Senator Emerson is with us. I think Senator Alquist is here. I would encourage the other members to please come to room 4203. So we'll begin as a subcommittee. Senator Correa is at the podium. Senator Correa, please begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators. Let me just say, first of all, I will waive presentation on SB 46, 805, and 817, and I will make a brief statement on Senate Bill 402.
We have SB 46, SB 251. Is that correct? On vehicle driver's license?
Yes.
And 817. I don't have that second bill you gave.
Yeah, we waived presentation on that one as well, 251.
All righty. And the second one that you mentioned, Senator, is not on today's file.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't have the number.
Okay.
But
I want to present Senate Bill 402.
That's fine. That's
Great.
fine.
Let's go
and
from there.
Hang on just one second, please. Senator Correa, it's helpful if we get a letter ahead of time telling us when you'll waive presentation. It's fine that you're waiving,
Thank you.
but the committee doesn't have a letter. So that's a little bit of the confusion.
You'll get in the next few minutes.
Anyway, let's move on to SB 402. This is curriculum frameworks. Please, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senators, SB 402, the 24th century curriculum. This idea was brought to me by teachers, K through 12, as well as community college teachers. What it seeks to do is requires each curriculum framework adopted by the State Board of Education to describe how academic content can be taught to build specific skills that will help our kids be productive and competitive in the 21st century. Specifically, this is about critical thinking, how do you integrate English language, maths, history, science, visual, performing arts, how do you bring them all together so that our kids can be well prepared to be successful competitors in an international global economy. We try to keep costs down in this bill, and I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Correa. Is there testimony on SB 402? Those in favor? Is there any opposition? Any opposition? And Finance is not with us today. This is a due pass, members, but I'll wait. We don't yet have a quorum, so I can't take a motion. But we'll take a motion when we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senators.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Senator Huff, do you want to take up SB 215?
Yes, ma'am.
Go right ahead. Thank you, sir.
It's been said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. In this case, an ounce of prevention is worth a couple of tons of cure. When the Dresned mussels invaded the Great Lakes, U.S. congressional research estimated it was a $5 billion problem. In many cases, they had to construct alternate conveyance systems, so one shut down for maintenance while the other carried the water. This is something that is out of $4.3 million approximately in special fund money, and I'll keep it short. I have my witnesses here. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. This does meet the criteria for suspense, as you noted. We'll go to your witnesses.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Wendy Ritterbush with the Association of California Water Agencies, or ACWA. Speaking solely to the fiscal aspect of this bill, the quagga mussel invasion has cost California millions of dollars in both prevention of new infestations and eradication of the current infestations. But it really pales in comparison to what the state could be forced to spend if the current inspection activities carried out by DFG, the Department of Food and Ag, and the other state agency partners cease to continue. The legal authority for this current mussel inspection Appropriations will expire at the end of this year if this bill does not become law. There's no question that the program's efforts are at discovering these mussels on the hulls of boats before they're spread and educating the recreational boaters about the problem and the simple solutions. Just one female quagga mussel can release up to 1 million eggs in a single year, so it's not a problem that's just going to go away on its own. Like the glassy-winged sharpshooter and the light brown apple moth that have come before, quagga mussels are unfortunately the latest invasive species infiltrating California. Spending prudently from special fund dollars to eradicate and educate now on the front end is an investment that could save hundreds of millions of general fund dollars on the back end and help prevent further infestation of critical infrastructure that Californians rely on to deliver water in the state.
Thank you. Next, please.
Jennifer West, on behalf of the California Municipal Utilities Agency, we are very strongly in support for the reasons stated by Ms. Ritterbusch.
Thank you. And we will take a brief break and call the roll now because I think we have a quorum. Call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Here.
Kehoe here. Walters? Here. Walters here. Alquist?
Here.
Alquist here. Emerson? Here. Emerson here. Liu? Pavley? Price? Runner? Here. Runner here. Steinberg?
We have a quorum, and the witnesses can continue, please.
Rosie Thompson with the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. We'd like to echo the comments made by Aqua, and we ask for your support of the bill. Thank you.
Karen Keene on behalf of the California State Association of Counties. We're in strong support of the extension. Thank you.
And go right ahead. Thank you.
Jenna Price on behalf of the Planning and Conservation League in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional testimony in favor? Is there opposition to SB 215? Any opposition? Seeing none, members, this is a candidate for suspense. Senator Huff will work with you on that, see if there's any way to reduce the costs, and so we'll move that file. We'll move that item to the suspense file.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Woke.
SB 835.
Senator Woke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, SB 835 extends the sunset date for the Best Value Construction Pilot Program that exists at UCSF until January 1st, 2015, and requires the university to provide another report to the legislature by 2012. Extending the date enables UCSF to continue to utilize this unique approach to complete additional projects despite ongoing budget reductions. It will realize cost savings and continue to do more with less. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Woke. Your witnesses, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Jason Murphy from the University of California. We do believe this program has saved the university a significant amount of funds, and I brought along a colleague from the Office of the President to detail them briefly for you.
Thank you.
Deborah Wiley from UC Office of the President, and this has been a successful program at UCSF. It's only one of the tools we're using for construction, but we estimated saving about 2% on the projects we're using it on. So we're estimating a savings of tens of millions each year because of the size of the construction program.
Thank you. Is there any additional testimony in favor? In favor. Opposition testimony to Senator Woke's bill? Seeing none, members, comments, questions? Senator Emerson? All righty. We will call the roll, but members, I would like to keep it open until we get the rest of the membership here. We have a motion by Senator Emerson on SB 835. Please call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters?
Aye.
Walters, aye. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, aye. Liu? Pavley? Price? Runner? Aye. Runner, aye. Steinberg?
All righty. It is 5-0, but we'll keep the roll open. And I should say Senator Liu, Senator Pavley, Senator Price, if you could kindly report to 4203, we'd appreciate your help with the hearing. Thank you, Senator Woke.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Members, Senator Correa presented SB 402 at the start of the hearing. That's a due pass. Do I have a motion? Senator Alquist moves the bill. Please call the roll. This is Senator Correa on 402.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist? Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, no. Liu? Pavley? Price? Runner? Runner, no. Steinberg?
All righty, that is 2 to 3. We'll keep it open. And I see Senator Evans come on up. You have 3 items. You're presenting on all 3?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty, then we'll start with SB 470.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is the salmon stamp bill. It's
more seafood.
More seafood.
Same as last week.
That's what I'm all about, seafood and wine. And women and children. I understand that SB 470 is to go on suspense, but I wanted to make a couple of points because this has been a successful self-funding program that has no cost to the state. And it was initiated nearly 30 years ago by commercial fishermen. And it is all the administrative costs are covered. So it's a little, I'm uncertain why it is expected to go to suspense, but I believe it's because it is a continuous appropriation, and I'm wondering if the committee would like to have, might propose some amendments so that we can deal with that issue so that it doesn't go on suspense.
We will work with you while it's in suspense, Senator Evans, but the staff analysis touches on the fact that the revenues from the stamp don't cover all the administrative fees, so we need to close that gap somehow. Do you have witnesses for the bill? Witnesses on SB 470?
Don't believe so.
Any opposition to 470? All righty, that item will go to suspense on the salmon stamp, and we'll go on to SB 770, marine protected areas.
Yes, Madam Chair, this bill is a bill that seeks to address an issue that was left outstanding with respect to the implementation of the MLPA. You may know that the history of this is that the MLPA has been implemented in certain areas of the state. When it came up to the northern part of the state, which is primarily in my district, a group of stakeholders got together, did an almost year-long process to develop the way in which the MLPA would be implemented without controversy. It was very successful. It did not, however, address the historic rights of Native American tribes. And there are more Native American tribes in that area than in the entire rest of the state combined. So this is a very big and very important issue. John Laird, as the new Secretary of Resources, is currently administratively working on trying to address the remaining Native American issues. This bill is going along at the same time to be able to be a legislative attempt to do the same thing or to put things in legislation that he may need put into legislation. The problem with the financial issue is that the state is going to face very expensive, very protracted litigation by the tribes if the state does not deal with this issue. So one way or the other, we're going to incur some costs in implementing the MLPA. And I would respectfully suggest that the source of the funding should be the MLPA implementation funding. Should be the same thing, because this is one part of the implementation of the MLPA.
All righty, any witnesses in favor? Any opposition testimony? Members, this again does meet the suspense criteria, so we'll move it to suspense and we'll take up SB 930, in-home support services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a measure that will potentially save tens of millions of dollars for the state.
And this is a due pass, members. Excuse me.
Thank you. So that we won't have to amend bad policy that was put forward by the previous administration in 2009 as part of the budget deal. The bill repeals 3 unneeded and very unworkable parts of the IHSS so-called anti-fraud initiative of 2009. That initiative included 10 separate components, but the 3 that we are seeking to overturn are 1, fingerprinting for all consumers, 2, provider and consumer fingerprints on all timesheets, and 3, a prohibition of the use of P.O. boxes by providers on the IHSS forms. This will save, we believe, over $41 million annually to the state, and I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there testimony in favor? Please.
Karen Kiesler on behalf of the California Association of Public Authorities, and we're really grateful that Senator Evans has introduced the bill and for your good work of the staff on the analysis. The bill would save clearly over $41 million. That's the state's estimate for the cost just of the machine to process the consumer, to get the consumer fingerprint and then to put it on file. So this clearly will save a lot of money. There's been no proof that this will actually, these things will actually detect savings and, fraud and result in savings. And then lastly, both SEIU and UDW are co-sponsors, and I know would want to be recorded in support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Deborah Doctor from Disability Rights California, co-sponsors, and I'd like to echo what Ms. Kiesler said and thank the Senator for carrying this bill and hope that you all will take the chance to reverse something that was done in haste, and you get a do-over now if you care to do that. Thank you.
Next, please.
Nicole Wertelman on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco in support. In our IHSS program, we have several means of weeding out fraud, and we don't believe that this policy is necessary.
Thank you. Next, please.
Beth McGovern on behalf of the California Commission on the Status of Women. We are also in strong support of the bill.
Thank you. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Opposition to SB 930? And members, Senator Walters, you have a comment, question?
Yeah, back in 2009, we had scored $130 million in savings over 10 reforms we were having in IHSS. This, in effect, takes away 3 of those 10 reforms. And those reforms were put in place because of the fraud, because we understood that there's a tremendous amount of fraud in IHSS. And I just guess I don't understand how you come up with a number of saying you're going to save, what, $41 million by repealing these 3 very important reforms.
Well, first of all, I would take issue. We don't all agree that there is a lot of fraud in IHSS. And in fact, the studies that we even had access to back in 2009 showed there was not rampant fraud in IHSS. So these were proposals that the governor wanted as part of the budget deal. Only 3 of them are being sought to be overturned by this bill, and those were the ones that really had nothing to do with the detection of fraud. The original legislation requires the purchase, and maybe the experts can talk more about this, of these enormous fingerprinting machines at great cost to the state, and that's what this bill seeks to avoid, is that cost of purchasing these machines, in addition to processing the fingerprints.
I would just add that there's the state's plan was to purchase approximately 2,400 of these machines that are known as MorphoTrack, because that would cover each of the social workers in California that would carry them out when they were doing assessments and reassessments. And kind of interestingly, the state then did form a work group with district attorneys, public authorities, welfare directors, the State Department of Justice, and the State Department of Health Care to create policies and protocols. And the DAs, after the enactment of this, said that the fingerprinting of consumers and fingerprinting on timesheets is not, in fact, a fraud deterrent, because, as they said, you could just simply write a swirl of ovals and it would be just as meaningful, because there could be so many different errors in the roll of the prints. And so that's the cost for sure, is the $41.6 million for the expense of the equipment. And then, as I said, the DAs have indicated that there's no value in terms of these fingerprints in detecting or prosecuting fraud.
Could I just respond?
I think we have enough on that one. Okay. Senator Emerson?
Have the machines been purchased yet?
No.
Any other comments, members? This is a due pass. Senator Alquist moves the bill, and we'll call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Walters, no. Alquist? Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, no. Liu? Pavley? Price? Price, aye. Runner? Runner, no. Steinberg?
All righty, that is 3-3. We'll hold it open. Senators Pavley and Senator Ted Lieu, if you could come to the Senate Committee on Appropriations in 4203, we'd appreciate it. Senator Calderon, welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
You have 2 items. Are you presenting both?
I'm waiving on the First item, SB 457.
Very good. And so then we'll go to SB 617 on
Correct.
government accountability.
Yes. Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members. The measure updates California's core statute on state administration to reflect best practices that have been emerged since 1983. The bill is responsive to the desire of California today for efficiency and accountability at all levels of government. Under SB 617, the State Finance Director will make monitoring programs a standard part of state operations. The last decade has shown that in big organizations, even the best administrative systems can break down if not monitored, Enron being a good example. SB 617 does not tell the Finance Director how to do such monitoring or how it should be structured, but as under current law, the Director can recommend suitable controls to state agencies with state auditor and state controller input. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. Are there witnesses in favor? Witnesses in favor of SB 617? Any opposition? Members, any comments?
Move the bill.
Yeah, Senator Alquist has a comment, and then I heard a motion from Senator Emerson.
As a former financial analyst at Stanford University, I really appreciate your bill and would love to be added as a co-author. And the bill's already been moved, so I won't do that.
Absolutely. Of course.
All righty. We have a motion from Senator Emerson. We'll call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Aye. Walters, aye. Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, aye. Liu? Pavley? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Runner? Runner, aye. Steinberg?
6-0. I'll keep that open for the absent members for another few minutes. Thanks, Senator Calderon.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Members.
Any other members present? Seeing none. Senator Alquist has a bill. It is SB 222 on joint ventures and health plans.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. With federal health care reform, some of the costs associated with implementation may be offset by federal funds for the development of health insurance exchange. This bill is a reintroduction of SB 56 from last session, which passed out of both houses, including both appropriation committees. This bill is like the final version of SB 56 in that it is fee-supported. Local public health plans, such as Medi-Cal local initiatives and county organized health plans, have the potential to provide cost-effective coverage for low-income residents. However, these plans lack clear statutory authority to form these ventures, and this is what this bill does, and ask for your support.
Thank you, Senator Alquist. Testimony?
Beth Capel on behalf of Health Access California and also on behalf of AFSCME in support of this measure, which would give clear statutory authority to our county-based local initiatives to form regional joint ventures in order to serve newly insured people in the exchanges. Thank you.
Next, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, Mitch Seaman with the California Labor Federation, also in support. We feel that this bill is an important move to expand access to affordable health care, and we urge an aye vote.
Thank you.
And Mike Montgomery with the Congress of California Seniors. We support the bill.
Thank you. Additional testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Seeing none, Senator Alquist, we do note some costs per joint venture statewide, of course, that would add up. So we'd like to work with you while it's on suspense to see if we can refine that number a little bit.
That would be fine. And of course, the cost is really from special funds, but be happy to work with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll move this item to suspense. Senator Leno, if you would like to strike while the iron's hot, come on up to the podium. You have 3 items, all more or less headed to suspense, but we'll listen. Are you presenting on all 3, sir?
Thank you. On 826, workers' compensation is not a due pass recommendation?
It is not.
Okay. I would like to present.
On all 3?
No. I will waive on the SB 223, the voter-approved local assessment.
All righty. And then you present on firearms and workers' comp?
Yes, please.
All righty. So we'll take up SB 819, if that's on firearms?
Yes.
This is a candidate for suspense, Senator.
I understand. Right. So this is a bill that was brought to our office by Attorney General Kamala Harris. We have in California a unique system which enables us to determine who among us in the state illegally possess firearms, including assault weapons. So a firearm may have been purchased legally, and then because someone's convicted of a felony or subsequently has a mental illness, they no longer can legally possess that firearm. There are about 18,000 such individuals in California, representing over 36,000 firearms, and we know where they are. We just don't have the wherewithal to be able to go out and get them. And so that's where this bill comes in, and this is where the dealer record of sale account is to be used through this bill to assist the Attorney General, who has a great track record, better than local law enforcement, whose resources we know are also stretched. And in fact, this is not just conjecture. There was a horrific situation in Los Angeles recently where a gentleman killed his wife and then went next door and killed the neighbor and a 4-year-old girl. And he was actually on the list to go get the gun, but 2 weeks down the road. So there is all this does, very simply, and why I do not believe that this does have any cost pressures to the general fund in any way, because, of course, it's a special account, the dealer record of sale account, and all it does is it gives authority to the Attorney General to be able to use a small portion of the surplus of this account for this purpose. She doesn't currently have the authority. She has the authority with regard to enforcement of other gun laws regarding the gifting, the trading, the sale, the purchase, but not the possession. So we just add the word possession. But again, the account has some extra millions of dollars. With this bill, the Attorney General will have the authority to come to the legislature through the regular budget process to be able to access some small portion of this account for this specific purpose.
Thank you, Senator. There is some detail on the expense from the Department of Justice in the second last paragraph of the analysis. So it is a candidate for suspense, but let's hear from your witnesses. Sir?
Steve Lindley. I'm the
and do you want to hit the red button there?
All right. My name is Steve Lindley. I'm the acting bureau chief for the Bureau of Firearms. Our bureau manages this program, both the DROS account and the APPS program. Like Senator Leno said, there's a little over 18,000 people in the system right now, constituting 34,000 firearms and 1,500 plus assault weapons. Get a little more specific for some of your areas. In San Diego County alone, there's 853 prohibited people possessing 1,866 firearms. In Orange County, there's 1,170 prohibited persons possessing 2,514 firearms. In Los Angeles, there's 5,874 prohibited people possessing 11,338 firearms. Sacramento County, we have 514 prohibited people with 1,017 firearms. Santa Clara, 522 prohibited people with 1,700 firearms. And Ventura County has 357 people and 847 firearms. That might seem, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Might not seem like a lot, but each one of these individuals, especially the ones that are prohibited due to mental health prohibitions, which constitute about 30% of the prohibited people, are literally ticking time bombs. What we've seen in other areas, specifically in Baldwin Park, where somebody who had a mental issue had not been disarmed, killed his mother, killed his neighbor's daughter, and they shot 2 other people out on the street before he decided to shoot it out with law enforcement. So these individuals pose a great threat to public safety. What we're looking at is we have money in the Droz Fund. We would like to use some of that money down the road in order to work these type of investigations to disarm these people and prevent them from the horrors they can cause in our communities.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good morning. Lieutenant Wayne Billowit on behalf of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Sadly enough, as you heard in the report, Los Angeles County has the most number of prohibited persons. We feel this is an intelligent use of the money. We strongly urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Other testimony in favor? Opposition testimony? Opposition, please. Well, go right ahead.
Madam Chair and members, Sam Paredes representing Gun Owners of California. We are all about putting bad people away for committing crimes. We are all about anybody who commits a crime with a gun being captured and incarcerated and kept out of public society. The problem with this bill is that it is using the wrong mechanism to fund this activity. The Dealer Record of Sales Fund was established so that people who purchase firearms could pay for their background checks. That was the legislative intent. That's what happened. A bill that Senator Steinberg bill opened it up to allow for the expenditure of enforcing the laws with regards, as the Senator pointed out, the purchasing, the registration, the sale, the transfer of firearms. What you're asking to do now, or what this bill is now asking to do, is to use this Dealer Record of Sales Fund as, in essence, a tax fund, opening it up to other enforcement activities that are unrelated to the purpose of the collection of those resources. We believe that creates a Prop 26 problem and will require 2/3 votes.
Thank you. Next, please.
Madam Chair, Kathy Lynch representing the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the California Association of Firearms Retailers, Safari Club International, Outdoor Sportsmen's Coalition, and California Sportsmen's Lobby. The reason the sportsmen are opposed to this bill is because this is money that they use for their background check to clear them so that they may purchase a firearm for hunting purposes. What Mr. Paredes says is accurate. This dealer record of sale is not the proper use. I appreciate that what's really happened here is the Department of Justice has lost general fund money that funded these special agents, and now they're looking for another pot of money to fund this. This will lead to litigation. This will find its way into the courts sooner than later. And I would draw your attention, while we agree with the spirit, we think that when you look at the realignment plan and the budget, that you ought to look to hold back some revenues for this purpose so that you can have these statewide sweeps and these regional plans. I find it ironic that many of the supporters of this bill are also proponents of AB 109, which actually lowered the sentence enhancement for people getting out of prison with firearms violations, including providing firearms to people that are mentally incompetent. So if we're serious about dealing with illegal possession of firearms, perhaps we should start with the broader policy discussion.
Thank you. Further testimony opposed? Any more opposition testimony? We do have a differing opinion from Ledge Council on your take on the tax issue. So, members, this is there are costs to this. We do want it to go to suspense. So let's move on then to SB 826, the workers' comp bill.
Right, and just to put a point on the Droz account, as the analysis points out, with confiscation of these weapons, we will be preventing crimes, saving money for prosecution and incarceration.
Thank you, Senator Leno. SB 826.
And my staff has just passed me a note that there had the Droz account been due pass at one point. Did that change?
Nope, not on this sheet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Very good. I'm again talking about the workers' comp bill. 826.
Yes.
That had been due pass at one point. That
yes,
changed.
But we do not have enough information on the information technology piece, and we do think it meets the suspense criteria. So if you'd like to address that in your remarks, you're perfectly welcome to, but this is a suspense candidate.
Sure, thank you. And what this bill is about is just leveling the playing field for responsible employers while ensuring that employees have adequate workers' compensation benefits. And currently, the Division of Workers' Compensation does not have an authority to enforce compliancy with what's known as the Workers' Compensation Information System in reporting requirements, and as a result, the Division of Workers' Compensation is unable to gather the claims information needed to make the data more accurate. We've worked with the opposition, and so with our amendments, and they ensure that the Division of Workers' Compensation has flexibility in distinguishing minor mistakes or errors from more egregious and deliberate ones, which was the business community's concern. We did have bipartisan support coming out of the Labor Committee. I understand that you want to review this in suspense, but just to also point out that any penalties assessed under the bill are deposited into a revolving fund that will help support the operation. So again, we don't believe it will have impact on general fund.
Thank you, Senator Leno. And while it's in suspense, we'll work with you and your staff on that information technology number and hopefully reduce it. Your witnesses, go right ahead.
Lachlan Taylor, Workers' Compensation Judge on the staff of the Commission on Health and Safety and Workers' Compensation. The Commission's legislative mandate is to conduct a continuing study of the workers' compensation system and recommend improvements. For that, we need research data, and we appreciate this bill to improve the quality of the data. As of late Friday, our conversations with Division of Workers' Compensation indicate the cost would be absorbable. No new IT investment is expected. It's a matter of running different queries on the existing databases and minor programming changes.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, please.
Yes, Lori Kammerer on behalf of Small Business California, sponsor of the bill. We have worked with all of the stakeholders. We're pleased to say that I believe we do not at this point have opposition. We may have everyone in support or at least neutral on this bill. It's very important to have accurate data. We urge your support.
Very good. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, Jason Schmelzer for the California Coalition on Workers' Compensation and CSAC Excess Insurance Authority. Wanted to thank the author for taking some amendments. We're now neutral. On the issue of the cost, we actually do think that the division has authority to do this right now, so we don't think there would be any additional cost. And then also it may actually save the Commission money in their research because the information will be more readily available, so take those into consideration.
Next, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Senators Julianne Broyles here on behalf of the California Association of Joint Powers Authorities. We have been pleased to be able to work with the sponsors and with the author to remove our opposition from the bill. I think our last issue is a delayed implementation so employers can get in line with the new data requirements. But for the moment, we have moved to a neutral position and are happy to be working with the author.
Mr. Locke, you... if you would get us a little more information on this information technology piece, it would be most helpful to the committee.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, also in support.
Thomas Vu with the California Chamber of Commerce. We are now neutral.
Senator Leno, all right. We've heard from small business. Good. Until we get that information, we would like a chance to work with you on it. So,
of course,
I'd like to see this go to suspense. And
I just want to thank Small Business California for being such a great sponsor.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, Senator Leno.
Off to suspense.
All righty. And we will keep you fully informed.
And waiving on 223.
You want to take up 223 now?
Nope,
you're waiving. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Senator Leno.
I thank you and the committee.
Thank you. Any other authors? Senator Liu, would you like to take up your bill? Any other? Oh, a presentation? Okay, so we'll take. Senator Pavlia, you're going to present yours?
If the chair is welcoming presentation,
sure. We'll go
on one bill and two are 28.8.
We'll go to Senator Liu, then Senator Walters, and Senator Pavley, unless a live author shows up. A live author that's not on the committee. Senator Liu.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators. This bill is a straightforward approach to several of the challenges facing the liens process in the workers' compensation system. Currently, these liens serve as a vehicle for contesting the employer or insurer determination of the amount payable for medical goods or services through the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board. Even the best functioning workers' compensation system, liens would be a normal part of doing business because medical providers have a right to be fairly and appropriately compensated for their time. However, in California's system, the appeals process is being choked by a huge deluge of liens, according to a recent report by the Commission of Health, Safety, and Workers' Compensation. Over 450,000 liens are expected to be filed this year. This volume of liens is unprecedented and prevents appeals board from properly functioning. This bill does two things. One, it requires liens to be in writing, and second, it creates a reasonable statute of limitations of when these liens can be filed. These two straightforward changes will balance the need of having an effective appellate process with the right of medical service providers to be appropriately compensated for their time and service. There's currently no opposition to this bill, and I have witnesses here in support. We accept the request and I vote.
Thank you. We'll go to your witnesses.
Good morning again, Madam Chair, members. Julianne Broyles here on behalf of the California Association of Joint Powers Authority, the sponsor of the bill. Very much appreciate the work that the Senator has done with us on the bill and the analysis created by the committee showing that there actually would be cost savings if this goes forward and is enacted. To give you some sense of what kind of savings you might see, and I work with CAJAPA's, mostly Joint Powers authorities that cover cities, counties, and school districts and special districts. One of our organizations that covers Napa, Yolo, and Solano counties, estimating about 5% of their claims covered usually have a lien associated with it. They would estimate that they would save about $120,000 per year. Another one that covers cities in the Bay Area estimates that they would save about $80,000 a year. So we think going forward that we have some really good reforms that are not controversial, that do make common sense changes to the lien process, and ask for your support of the bill.
Thank you very much. We have support on both sides, gentlemen, so if you can be brief.
Thomas Vu with the California Chamber of Commerce in support.
Excellent. Doesn't get better than that.
Jason Schmelzer, CSAC Excess Insurance Authority, and
Very
CCWC
good.
in support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Mike Carroll with the California Applicant Attorneys, also in support. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And thank you for that county-by-county information.
Thank you.
Members, this is a due pass. Senator Walters moves the bill. Is there any other discussion? We'll call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Walters, aye. Alquist? Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, aye. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Pavley, aye. Price? Price, aye. Runner? Runner, aye.
8-0. That bill is out, and we'll close that roll since we now have a full House. Senator Walters is going to take up SB 692 on professional engineers. This is a candidate for suspense, but we want to hear the presentation, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
Senator Walters, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Today I present to the committee Senate Bill 692. SB 692 recognizes the need for California to reform the Engineers Act. We have a study that shows California is the only state restricting the engineering profession to one type of engineer. It was conducted 10 years ago by the legislature and the agencies that enforce the act. The Board of Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists sponsored a bill in 2005 to reform the law. It was opposed by PEG and CELSOP, now ACEC, and defeated. I authored SB 275 in the last session, and it was also opposed and defeated. Now we have a law that maintains engineering technology as it was in 1950. I believe that we need to access to all of the modern technology that exists in order to achieve the benefits of the new economy. In fact, we will need technology that does not exist, but which is the focus of the experts we rely on to meet our goals. As the current engineering law is enforced and enforcement is increasing, the efforts to develop renewable energy, reduce greenhouse gases, and build high-speed rail will be frustrated by only civil engineers are able to provide services. The facilities involved in these programs are fixed works, and the law says only civil engineers can be involved. The Obama administration, which is providing many large grants to California, may be surprised to learn that by law, only civil engineers are permitted to design fuel cells, wind and solar facilities, and redesign existing plants and refineries to reduce carbon emissions. In every other state, the entire profession is deeply involved in these types of projects. The people of California expect our state to lead the country in the new green economy. This bill will go a long way to giving Californians a law they believe already exists and a law that they deserve. And with me today is Don Reisner, who can answer any questions regarding SB 692.
Thank you, Senator. The witness?
Thank you. Don Reisner, representing California Legislative Council, Professional Engineers. That's an organization of almost all the engineering societies. We're in support of the bill, obviously, because California's law is basically unenforceable. As it says, only civil engineers can do almost all of the engineering in California. However, the law is almost always ignored. The fact is that the analysis indicates that there apparently are a number of people who are providing engineering services. The environmental agencies are staffed to a large degree by chemical engineers who are only practice protected if they're providing services to the private sector. And yet they are providing the engineering expertise that's necessary for drinking water safety, remediation of toxic contaminated sites, et cetera. The fee cost for applying for a license fee is being debated at the board. It meets this Thursday and Friday, and they will be discussing that to some degree. And so I think more information will be available to talk about that. But certainly if there are people who are providing services who are not appropriately licensed, that should be taken care of.
Very good. Additional testimony in favor? In favor? Is there opposition testimony? Come on up, please.
Madam Chair, members, Steve Baker with Aaron Reed & Associates, representing the professional engineers in California government. As Senator Walters commented, we've been opposed to this bill in the last 4 iterations. We think it'll cause undue confusion in the marketplace. The purpose of the law is to protect consumers, not the practitioners, and we think that this bill doesn't meet that need.
Thank you. Next, please.
Madam Chairwoman, members, Mark Smith on behalf of the American Council of Engineering Companies of California. Of the 80,000 registered engineers in the state of California, 74,000 of them are either a civil, an electrical, or a mechanical. This bill provides a solution which we do not agree with. We invite those 6,000 Title Act engineers who are the proponents of this bill to take the examinations to become a civil engineer, like the vast majority of other engineers in California. These are matters of public safety and high state importance, and for these reasons we oppose the bill.
Thank you. Senator Walters, there is by expanding the licensees, you inadvertently increase the shortfall in the account because it's not meeting its expenses as is. So that's the question before us in suspense.
Right.
So let us work with you while it's in suspense, and then we'll deal with it in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that item, SB 692, goes to suspense, members. Senator Pavley, would you like to present next? Senator Price, are you presenting on SB 789? All righty. Do you want? Can we? Are you waiving presentation? We can take it up. It's going, or do you want to? Okay. All righty, Senator Pavley. We're going to SB 679, energy conservation projects, and please begin whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you very much, and I think the analysis, was accurate reflection of this particular measure. Be glad to accept the technical amendment on page 2 of the bill that I think switching from authority to commission if this bill moves off of suspense later on.
Full of good suggestions.
Always good suggestions, right? Just a real brief summary. Last year I authored a bill that got over 2/3 vote of the legislature. It was called PACE, the Property Assessed Clean Energy Bill, with $50 million appropriated for implementing it. The federal government decided to not move forward with a PACE-funded kind of program. So what this bill does is sort of reauthorizes that $50 million and accomplishes many of the same goals. It reallocates that same funding, the $50 million for energy efficiency, through a long-standing existing energy efficiency revolving loan program that's housed in the California Energy Commission. It's called the Energy Conservation Assistance Act, or ECA. They've been very successful. It's a well-run program. It would benefit local governments and schools.
Very good.
And hospitals.
Should we go to your witnesses?
We should.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Justin Milan on behalf of the U.S. Green Building Council. The PACE program would have been a huge boon for renewable and sustainable buildings, renewable issues and sustainable buildings in California. Unfortunately, that's effectively been put on hold. This is a very, very good alternative to the PACE program. We believe the money has already been appropriated for this general purpose. It's really just shifting the funds to an equally important, equally valuable program. We urge your aye vote.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Cindy Hillary, Regional Council of Rural Counties, in support. We believe that this shifting of the money to a location where it can actually be dispersed for the purpose that it was originally intended is a good idea, and we support.
Very good. Any additional testimony in favor of SB 679? Is there opposition testimony? Members, this meets the suspense criteria, so we'll work with Senator Pavley while it's on suspense, and we will go to... We're going to go to those items for which presentation has been waived. First, I want the public to know that SB 325 by Senator Rubio has been approved as a 28.8. With amendments, it will not be heard today. It's moving to the floor. We are waiting for 3 authors, and they are Senator Simitian, who else? And Senator Hancock and Senator Corbett. But meantime, members, we have a little extra flexibility on the 12 o'clock, so let's see how many we can get through. On the waive-in presentation, we'll start with SB 46 by Senator Correa, compensation for public officials. Is there testimony in favor of SB 46? Is there opposition testimony? Seeing none, and Finances does not have a staff person with us today, so we'll move that one to suspense. SB 251, also by Senator Correa, vehicles, driver's license for vehicles. Is there testimony in favor? SB 251. Is there opposition testimony? Yes, sir. Come on up. Please state your name and tell us your opinion.
Jim Lindberg on behalf of the Friends Committee on Legislation in California. We very much appreciate the amendments that the author took in the Housing and Transportation Committee. Quakers oppose military conscription. We therefore oppose state participation in this. The decision whether or not to register with the Selective Service is a very personal decision. It should be made with deliberation and advice. It should not be reduced to checking off a box while standing in line at the DMV. So we're opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. This has to do with the DMV reporting of age young men to the military. So we'll have to look at that in suspense because there's costs. Senator Simitian, do you want to present your one item, SB 29?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. This item has been before you before. We think there are no significant cost issues. We've had bipartisan support. We've worked hard to take amendments last year, which we've repeated this year, that eliminated previous opposition, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote given the hour unless there are questions, Madam Chair.
Any witnesses, Senator? Any opposition to SB 29? Members, you know, this is right on the edge. It is not a local mandate because there's no state costs. There may be some unknown penalty issues, but we could take a motion on this if the committee so wishes. Senator Alquist moves the bill. Any other comments, members? We'll call the roll, please. Senator Emerson, do you have a... All righty. There is a technical amendment on the bill. And call the roll, please.
I do have a question.
Oh, Senator Emerson does have a question.
We had something here that says that there's significant revenue decreases.
A decrease in the identification of drivers. There could be, but we don't really have any solid information on that, Senator Emerson.
Could I clarify through the chair?
Yes.
And Senator Emerson, I hope you'll forgive the colloquial language I'm about to use.
I always appreciate your colloquial language.
Thank you, sir. Under existing state law, a contractor who provides these services to a local government agency is authorized to and may, and they do, send out what are known as snitch tickets. And what happens is, if the wrong person is in the photograph, and this came to me through a constituent who was identified 3 or 4 times for a car she didn't own at the other end of the state, different person, different car, different color, different license. The notice that you get says, if you don't tell us who that person is in the picture, you will get the ticket. And what it does say is that that's true whether you know who they are or not. So what we're saying is that that's not really due process, that you don't get to tell someone you're guilty if you can't or won't identify the person in the picture. And the argument that has been provided is, well, you know, then some people won't tell us and we may not be able to catch them. And there's the potential decrease in local revenue. We think, and this is consistent with the conversations I've had with members of the judiciary, that telling people that they are essentially guilty unless they can identify somebody else in the picture is just on its face not constitutional. Yeah.
Any further questions, members? We have a motion by Senator Alquist. Call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
This is due pass as amended. Is this the one with technical amendments? Okay. Kehoe, aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Aye. Walters, aye. Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, aye. Liu? Aye. Liu, aye. Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Price, aye. Runner? Runner, aye. Steinberg?
8-0, that bill is out. Thank you, Senator Simitian. Members, we're going to return to the items on which presentation has been waived, and that is SB 817 by Senator Correa on Veterans Affairs contracts. Any testimony in favor? Any opposition testimony? This is SB 817 by Senator Correa. That item goes to suspense. Senator Liu has waived presentation on this item. The next one, SB 103, meetings in state government. Any testimony in favor? Any opposition testimony? That item goes to suspense. SB 103 by Senator Carol Liu. Senator Yee, SB 118, energy service contracts. Is there testimony in favor? Come on. Is there opposition testimony? Come on up. Opposition testimony, SB 118, Senator Yee's item on energy service contracts. Please begin.
Ana Ferreira on behalf of the School Energy Coalition, the County School Facilities Consortium, and the Coalition for Adequate School Housing. Also, the California School Boards Association asked me to inform you that they are also opposed.
All right.
Schools remain opposed to the bill because it asks schools to add a process, RFI, RFQ, RFP, which will add cost, staff, and resources, and runs counter to the state's intent in Government Code 4217 that maximum flexibility be provided with respect to these projects moving forward. We have worked with staff and appreciate the work we've done to provide language that we believe preserves the spirit of the code and the flexibility schools and other agencies need to make these projects feasible, and provides notification per the public agency, which was the transparency that was sought after in this bill. We appreciate that Senator Yee expressed the desire to work with us in the policy committee, and we hope that he accepts those
Very good.
amendments.
Next, please. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Rand Martin on behalf of the National Association of Energy Savings Companies. We share the concerns of our school district partners. We're very concerned that the language in its current form would actually dissuade people from pursuing energy saving contracts. We're hopeful as well that the amendments that we presented to Senator Yee will be accepted. But at this point, they have not been officially accepted, and we must remain opposed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Paul Gonzalez on behalf of Willdan Energy Solutions, opposed for the same reasons previously stated.
Any other testimony opposed to Senator Yee's SB 118? Seeing none, that item does meet the criteria for suspense. It'll go to suspense. Members, we're being asked to report to the Senate floor for session, so we'll resume upon adjournment. Thank you.